I would love to kick off, if that's all right, with a sizzle to show the audience a little bit about Sky Showtime's offering.
That's excellent. Let's do it. Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's play the sizzle.
It's time. It's Sky Showtime. Let's fly.
You see that button right there? Oh, you mean the button that's taking every fiber of my being not to press? Press it. Oh!
Award-winning local titles.
Lata na konszencie?
A może świat jest zaprogramowany na to, aby trochę cię olśnić?
Exclusive series.
This is next level. Headed. Bless you. We have heroes. You want to write this down?
I think I'd just like to listen.
And the biggest blockbusters.
Why? How about because this is the most important thing that ever happened in the history of the world? Kill for the torsion.
Check!
Wing deployment.
Let's fly.
Our lives are the sum of our choices.
From the world's greatest storytellers.
This is the real deal.
It's entertainment time. It's Sky Showtime.
The world will remember this day.
So Sky Showtime is quite young. So the service launched, I think, in September 22. Is that right?
Yeah, we're about a year and a half.
Yeah. And can you tell me a little bit about the platform, kind of the kinds of content that you have on there, kind of suppliers and
Yeah, sure. I mean, we were founded or created by our shareholders to really entertain kind of households across a pan-regional or somewhat fragmented European footprint. Our shareholders are Paramount and Comcast, for those that are not aware of it, which is why you can see a lot of like Paramount Pictures and Universal Pictures titles in our showreel. Also, at the time when we launched, for example, with Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick in that case, and we made available Yellowstone and then kept expanding on that whole universe over time. So we have a lot of kind of mainstream Hollywood pieces of content between or across blockbusters and US series. And then, as you could also see in the showreel, we did add already in kind of throughout the first year of operations some local titles, including here from Poland, Warszawianka and Kos, and we have also added local titles across the Northern European footprint and in Spain in the meantime.
Fantastic. So what kind of areas geographically does Sky Showtime offer that platform in, and which areas are you responsible for?
Well, we're operating the service in 20 plus countries, and we've localized in I think 18 different languages. That includes countries or basically 3 different regions, I would say. Iberia on the one hand, then Northern Europe, which is Scandinavia plus the Netherlands, kind of by our internal definition, and then the Central and Eastern European footprint from Poland, basically in the north, all the way south to the Adriatic coastline, and that's 20 plus countries.
Yeah, amazing. And you joined Sky Showtime last September?
Yeah, last September. Right? Yeah, I joined Sky Showtime as Chief Content Officer last September after a couple of really, really constructive and positive conversations after 8.5 years with Netflix and about 20 years in kind of the industry, where I have always been focusing on kind of all things video on demand, acquisition, production, distribution.
And your role at Sky Showtime, is that similarly broad in terms of looking after all content, so all commissions, all acquisitions, and across all of those territories?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm in a fortunate position, I want to say, or in a somewhat privileged position to really oversee our programming efforts across everything we do, making available content from our shareholders, but also acquiring, co-producing, and commissioning originals as part of our programming strategy. And as Chief Content Officer of our service, I'm overseeing basically all of these initiatives, global and local programming.
Yeah. And in terms of local programming, so I know Sky Showtime made another announcement of new content on just Monday, I think, a couple of days ago. Another amazing raft of shows in that. What particularly were you excited about?
It's really difficult to really kind of point to a single show from that announcement that we released on Monday. And for those that are not aware of it, this was an announcement really kind of announcing upcoming shows and originals that will launch on our service throughout the next, let's say, 6 to 7 months, and that included Hollywood movies like Bob Marley, One Love, and Migration, and Academy Award nominated The Holdovers, which I really love as a title, and then also returning TV shows like Frasier, Poker Face, Tulsa King, which I love a lot. It's Sylvester Stallone's, I think, very first series he's ever been starring in. And then, of course, Yellowstone at the end of the year will be a massive highlight when season 5B is launching. It's currently in production. We also announced some of the new shows that are not returning series, but brand new, and that also includes Taylor Sheridan's Landman, starring Demi Moore and Billy Bob Thornton and Andy Garcia. So the list is very, very long, and I have not even made any reference to local titles, which in the announcements we have, but it continues to be this combination of global and local content that we believe will resonate with our audiences, kind of throughout our European and pan-regional footprint, and we're extremely proud of this pipeline of fantastic kind of international titles and local titles alike. And then this week we're launching The Tattooist of Auschwitz across our footprint. You've just seen it here also in the sizzle reel, and later this year another Sky original, Day of the Jackal, starring Eddie Redmayne. So I mean the list goes on and on. We can spend a lot of time just talking about that announcement alone.
Absolutely. In the context of that, so a lot of those shows were fiction. I think we chatted about this a little bit earlier, and we'll come on to kind of priorities looking ahead a little bit later, but you are starting to also commission some docs.
That's correct.
And there was one in the announcement. I think we've got a clip for.
Yeah, there were actually 2 documentaries in the announcement. There's a documentary about Vitaly Klitschko that we are also soon launching, which I think is extremely timely and very, very relevant. And we're continuing to make this push into original commissions and co-productions. And Schmeichel is the one I think you're making reference to, and that's a documentary about the Danish football icon and kind of goalkeeping madman who, with both Denmark and Manchester United, won a lot of trophies. And his son is also a goalkeeper. And so Schmeichel is one of our upcoming unscripted originals.
Yeah, fantastic. Can we play the clip, please, for Schmeichel?
My name is Peter Boleslav Schmeichel. At least that's how my mother pronounces our surname. I think I'm more famous for being called Schmeichel.
Guilty for calling him Schmeichel.
Yeah,
always.
He's great. He's a great character, and again, his son is also a goalkeeper, also representing Denmark internationally. I was born on an island just off the Danish coastline, so while being German, I kind of identify with kind of the Viking way of life more than the Bavarian way of life in comparison. And so Peter Schmeichel has been one of my childhood heroes. I was a goalkeeper myself. While I was 12, 13, 14, I thought, being goalkeeper is probably the coolest position on the pitch because you're never substituted out. And then the team I played on lost one game 0-12, which means that the other team scored 12 goals against me. And then I thought I might be better off playing volleyball and basketball. But Peter Schmeichel has always been one of my heroes.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you have an air date or release date for that yet?
I don't think we've announced
yeah.
an air date yet. And I mean, if this is your slate, all of the titles I just mentioned, it's a little bit difficult to find the perfect kind of air date for every single project. We want to make sure we're giving all of these highlights kind of sufficient space on the platform. So kind of throughout, in particular Q4, this is probably going to be our most prominently programmed quarter to date for Sky Showtime, a really, really important quarter. It's when really we want to give our subscribers a ton to watch, and we are still in the process of identifying the perfect launch date for every single title.
So watch this space, or watch the Sky Showtime release information.
Yeah, more to come on that.
Yeah, so obviously it's an incredible catalogue. It does have a very Hollywood feel. Like you say, you're making available some incredible titles, particularly out of the US. But you're also commissioning local. Sorry, just slightly distracted by the phone. You're also commissioning across the CEE.
Yeah.
So can you talk to me a little bit about what that strategy looks like
Sure.
in terms of original commissions?
Well, it's a really important cornerstone of our programming strategy going forward. I think we need to be programming kind of local content that really resonates broadly and really complements our slate of global titles. So we're trying to program somewhat mainstream with an edge, local commissions and acquisitions. So we're also acquiring both catalog titles across film and TV, or kind of more recent releases, but kind of making this push into original programming is really excited for us as a platform. And we have just announced, actually as part of the announcement from Monday, our very first Spanish language original commission. We have recently released a title from the Nordics called Veronica that was not originally produced for us, which was an acquisition that we premiered on our service that did tremendously well, that we were very, very happy with. And it was so encouraging to see local content do well. And here in Poland, we've made the experience last year when we launched Warszawianka, how powerful local content can be and how much it resonates with audiences. So if you want to kind of set yourself apart and program something exclusive and unique, I think it makes a ton of sense to make this push into original programming. And here in Poland, we're currently in the process of shooting our very first Polish language original commission, an IP-based show called Śliboda, which we are filming in the Tatra Mountains, produced by Magda Szwedkowicz, and it's coming together really nicely. So everything goes really well at the production. This is our cast, and this is not a wallpaper in the background. We are actually shooting in the mountains. So we have Maria, Maciej, and Piotr here from our cast. But that's I mean, we announced that they are going to be our cast. The next still is a little bit more entertaining. So we needed a bear, and we had to choose between visual effects and like being Hollywood about it, or doing the real deal, or putting a human being into a bear costume, which always looks a bit corny. So we decided to bring in a bear, and this bear is, if I'm not wrong, Hungarian. We had to pay a little bit more for insurance on set because
just a bit, I imagine.
There's a certain risk to the bear. There's a certain risk to cast and crew with the bear on set, but it was totally worth it. And we didn't bring more photos, but I mean this guy really looks scary and frightening. And I mean it's an authentic actual bear from Hungary. I always want to say Romania, but it's actually Hungarian bear, which is a proof point to my passion for European co-productions. Yeah, we're also
we brought in a Hungarian
casting
bear.
Internationally.
Absolutely.
So, spoiler alert, so this bear will make an appearance in the very first episode, and I'm not sure if we are having a lot more action with the bear in kind of throughout the show, but it was definitely a lot of fun. Yeah.
Obviously, they say to producers never work with children or animals, but you've obviously decided to take no notice of that.
We thought we were in the Tatra Mountains.
Let's go mad.
It has to be a proper bear. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about why that show, because obviously I'm sure you're getting pitched projects all the time. We'll come on to that a little bit later. What made you greenlight this project?
So I think this show is really kind of indicative of what we want to be doing throughout our footprint and not just in Poland. This show is IP based. It's based on really best-selling novels. So there's already kind of a built-in audience there. We really believe in the production team and the creative team behind the show. They've all had successes with other either platforms or broadcasters, and they're really experienced in bringing stories like Śleboda to life. It's a show that we believe will broadly resonate. It's not just very urban. Obviously, it's set in the Tatra Mountains, so can speak to also a wider audience outside of, for example, Krakow or Warsaw. And it's in success returnable. So we thought this makes for a really interesting mix of aspects, and the scripts are compelling, and we just had a lot of faith in the creative team behind the title.
Yeah, fantastic. And you mentioned that it's returnable. Was that important to you as you build?
Yeah, I think, if you're building a new service, if you're growing your audience, it makes sense to pursue projects that, again, in success, can come back and can be returnable for more seasons. And in this case, this is a scenario. I don't want to overpromise on it, but obviously there are more books by the same team. And that you can basically expand on, and if the show resonates, we will certainly be having that conversation. I think in pitches that we're currently being submitted and that we're taking into consideration, we're looking for these aspects. Can it resonate broadly? Can it be, in a way, be mainstream with an edge? Is it in success returnable? Is it relatable? Are the budgets, let's say, realistic? And that's how we are choosing and picking those projects that we're entertaining, and then we're having a conversation about pursuing them. And in the case of Śleboda, the stars have really been aligning, and we felt like that's a really cool show for us to pursue.
And this is obviously a drama. Are there any genres are you open to every genre at this point?
Yeah, so this is a crime show, and crime, I think, has time and again proven how it resonates broadly with kind of streaming audiences. I think we would also take into consideration drama or comedy shows. Sometimes it's easier to say what maybe not be so much of a fit to describe what makes or doesn't make sense to submit as a project. So I think right now, if a project was to skew way younger, we might not be the right platform for that. I think if a show is trying to be too international as opposed to locally authentic, we might also not be the right service for it. We are not operating in a global footprint. Our footprint, again, is somewhat fragmented throughout Europe. So if we're commissioning a show in Poland, and let's say there's a very strong Italian element or French element to the show, we don't really address audiences in those markets. So that probably for us also wouldn't make sense. And so I think that helps navigate this question a little bit. Kind of crime, drama, comedy, broad, mainstream.
Okay. You open to all genres? Fantasy, sci-fi, supernatural?
I don't know. I mean, in sports, you often tell players to kind of play by their strengths. And as much as I want to encourage European creators to create, sci-fi titles, there's a lot of really, really, really good sci-fi being produced in Hollywood. And if the service that we are operating is ultimately powered by Comcast, so Universal Studios and Sky and Paramount Pictures, and there are movies and TV shows there produced on kind of Hollywood blockbuster and mainstream budgets.
Yeah.
The output also in sci-fi is quite decent, and the question is how much do our European productions kind of compare? So if you're playing by your strengths, and in particular here in Eastern Europe, there's such a rich tradition and deep tradition and great storytelling, both in drama and in crime, and there are a lot of writing talents. I think that's what we kind of want to encourage, and the partnerships we kind of want to grow are probably those kind of partnerships that are not teams that are trying to experiment to like freely with something that has never been done before.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, understood. Which kind of brings me nicely to a question I've got through on Slido, actually, in terms of demographic and content for younger audiences. So do you have any plans going forward to introduce kind of family content or children's or young adult?
Well, actually, we have a lot of Paw Patrol and animated series because through Paramount, we are also accessing a lot of the Nickelodeon content. And for those in the audience that have kids, a title like Paw Patrol is something really important to have subscribed to. So that's doing really well for us. And then if you look at the movie slate from our shareholders, Super Mario Brothers and certain other titles are really resonating with the younger audiences also. So Despicable Me, the Minions franchise, and other movies are certainly kind of more family-focused titles. Migration is now coming up. In terms of kind of original commissions or co-productions, I would say we're currently not prioritizing family entertainment or young adult entertaining too much, but we know we want to organically grow into broader audiences to really entertain everybody in your household. But I think if we have to prioritize, starting with crime shows, targeting a more adult audiences or comedies, I think is for us probably the kind of preferred path for now.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. So then looking at the next kind of 12 months, Kai, what are those content priorities? Obviously you've mentioned crime and drama.
Yeah.
Do you want to push more into unscripted as well?
We do actually. So I think we've recognized that with our offering kind of out of the gate, we've already managed to really resonate with kind of millions of households. With the Star Trek universe and Yellowstone, we have shows where there's really a lot to watch and many episodes and spin-offs and different iterations of these titles. But we're already really good in that space. I think in a space that we have to get much better at. That's probably non-fiction. Unscripted, which doesn't mean that tomorrow we will be commissioning a shiny floor show like, I don't know, Poland Got Talent or something in that vein. But it certainly means that we should be open to kind of entertaining the idea to be doing more, maybe true crime or personality-based documentaries, kind of in the vein of Schmeichel and the Klitschko documentary that's also coming up. One of our shareholders, Comcast, is operating a service called Hey You, that some of you might know, and Hey You is premiering throughout the European footprint or near global footprint, things like Below Deck or Housewives Off. And now you can replace it with many cities. I think there's multiple iterations of Housewives of Beverly Hills and Atlanta and this kind of content. And we're following closely how popular that is. And we're also trying to listen to our subscribers in identifying what we might be lacking, and maybe that's a push that we also need to be making into that space.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of eyes open across the board.
Dating shows, talent shows.
So potentially
one day,
open to everything.
Yeah.
If not now, soon.
Yeah. Over time, I think. I mean, you can't force it, and as a platform or as a broadcaster more broadly, if you're making a push into a certain programming category that you're not yet very strong in, requires like an all-in approach and commitment. You can't just do kind of one unscripted or let's say unscripted entertainment show a year and then not do anything similar of the same kind of type during the next couple of months. You need to give your audiences more to watch of what they came in for. So we need to make very thorough choices in that area. And for now, we're extremely excited, almost I want to say even proud of this incredible slate of US Hollywood movies, from Top Gun Maverick to soon The Holdovers and Migration and recently Oppenheimer that we launched just a few days after it won 9 Academy Awards. And those TV shows, most notably scripted, produced, created by Taylor Sheridan, who kind of keeps expanding his universe, the Taylorverse, and and with Landman, starring Demi Moore and Billy Bob Thornton and Andy Garcia, he will prove yet again, that he can create great television, and that's continuing to power us and fuel us. I would say in some way. And then it's on us to make smart decisions and layering on maybe content that we cannot access through our shareholders.
Yeah, fantastic. That brings me really nicely onto another question from Slido, actually, which is sticking with films. Are you open to theatre release or a festival route before then streaming that film on your platform?
Well, 100%. If Universal Pictures and Paramount Pictures are part of a family, then you are a believer in the big screen, and you're very, very excited for meaningful audiences to watch a film theatrically, because that also makes for bigger releases of titles on your platform ultimately. So Oppenheimer is doing really well. Obviously last year it was a huge blockbuster. So we would also encourage European movies to obviously still go through a theatrical release before then being made available on platform. So that said, right now we've recently we've launched a Polish movie called Kos, which last year here at the Polish Film Awards has been winning multiple awards, including Best Picture. That's currently available in what you call the Pay One window on our platform. So it's currently exclusively available on our platform, and that provides us with really, really interesting insights into how popular local language films in exclusive windows are and how they resonate with our audiences. And not to say too much, but obviously that title in particular and other movies we have on our service are resonating. So we're not just going to be programming series. What I don't think we will be doing in the foreseeable future is commissioning original film, straight to platform film. And in my previous role at another streaming service, I did also commission movies kind of that went straight to platform, and that's all. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think at Sky Showtime, we will be focusing our kind of local language programming efforts on original series. And then in the film space, we could be a partner or a buyer for maybe the Pay One window or a window following the free TV broadcasters. So I think we want to be a good citizen and a good partner within the kind of existing creative ecosystems and not disrupt too much in terms of also commissioning original film.
Yeah, fantastic. And just kind of sticking with that, and in terms of the way that you acquire and license. So there's another question on Slido. Are you buying foreign content for one single country, i.e. Poland, from a local distributor? And I think by that we're talking about, so are you able to take something that would only be available in one of the territories you operate in, or does it need to be available for the whole of your footprint?
No, we don't need to be making available every single piece of content throughout the entirety of our footprint. Kos is a good example. Kos is currently only available in Poland on Sky Showtime. It probably also wouldn't be too relevant for our Dutch audiences or our Portuguese audiences, quite frankly. So I think we need to be realistic about that, which means that content can be either available in our wider footprint or just in a single territory. What we wouldn't be doing is, I think, license, let's say, a German series or a German movie for our audiences in the Czech Republic or in Finland. We're not operating in Germany, and so for a Czech subscriber, that's non-Hollywood, non-local content. Yeah. And that's really kind of only the third bucket in terms of content preferences, and at this point in time we're not going to be addressing that. So it's important for us to program local language content in the country of origin.
Fantastic. And speaking of original commissions and local, have you got any new announcements for us, Kai, of any new commissions we can tell us about?
We do, and we're very, very excited about. Is it 11 a.m. yet? Because this
for this room only.
This is kind of under embargo, but this is hot off the press, and we actually didn't line it up this way for Content Warsaw. So this just organically provides a great stage for this announcement. So we are kind of making a continued push into local programming, and the upcoming Polish original scripted series that we can very kind of proudly announce is a show called Langer. It's based on existing book IP by Remigiusz Mus. I hope I didn't butcher that too much, but the character of Piotr Langer, who's a serial murderer, is going to be played by the one and only Jakub Gierschau, and we are all very, very excited for this show to hit the screen in 2025, and that's it's great for us. It's good news for our subscribers. Hopefully, it's good news for producers in Poland. That Śleboda is not just kind of a blip and one-off, but that there is more content coming, and I think Langer will be a massive highlight for our platform. So super excited about it. This is going to be produced by Active Media and again for a 2025 release. So this is brand new and exclusive. Yeah.
So only just a kind of
no bear.
Green light. Yeah, no bears this time. And when do you start shooting? Is that kind of
this year?
Imminent?
Yeah,
okay.
Well, this year. The team is still in the process of writing all the scripts. Casting is, I think, something that's currently underway. So pre-production and then physical production, then post-production. If you add it all up, I think it's more realistic that the show will probably be launching kind of halfway through next year, Q2, Q3. We'll see.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, but it's really amazing work, and I can't take credit for it. So we have a regional content director overseeing our Eastern European slate, Edita Pytlewska, who's also in the room right there. So Edita is responsible for truly, zooming in and then choosing shows like Śleboda and Langer. No pressure at all.
Yeah.
But as a platform for us, that's great because we obviously want to renew and really live up to this kind of commitment to local programming.
Lovely. And that kind of brings me to a question that I had that has also come through on Slido, which is obviously room full of producers who would all love to get a commission from you guys. How do projects come to you? And looking at Śleboda and the new release as well, what was it about those projects specific? Interesting, they're both based on IP and books. How important was that in the...
Yeah, again, very important. I mean, Langer, I think, the writer of the novels, Remigiusz Mus, he is really a best-selling writer here in Poland, has been for the last few years, and that just comes with a built-in awareness and built-in audience, and that really helps kind of promote a title. But obviously, your execution still needs to be spot on and first class. So that's now on us and production company Active Media to take care of. The good news is you don't have to pitch to me, and that really wouldn't be helpful for for either one of us. Edita is here, at least across Eastern European content, the person to talk to. A pitch can be an idea, it can be a book, it can be an already written pilot. Or just the treatment. I don't think that there's a one-size-fits-all approach to that. As a relatively new service, we're among the newer services operating streaming here in Europe with a new kid on the block. One of the benefits of that is that we're doing many things for the first time, and we're not too religious about a certain format of a submission. Edita really is your go-to person in Eastern Europe. I would sometimes parachute myself into a conversation and be a distraction and a roadblock, or I'll be your biggest fan, and otherwise, you're in good hands with Edita.
Yeah, amazing. And obviously, this is a slightly biased question. My background is in scripted development, about which I am passionate. Does Sky Showtime want your interest in a project fund development?
We do, yes. We're actually committing to development deals. Not sure what the kind of development to screen ratio ultimately will look like, but I think developing together is really important. I think we will have to be really selective kind of in terms of the shows we're then ultimately committing to and that we are ultimately programming for our subscribers. Also in terms of the volumes, I think we're targeting something like 10 original shows across our footprint every year, plus minus, might be a little bit more, might be a little less, but let's say 10 makes for a round number, better than 9 or 11.
Let's say 10.
And ultimately, we know that there are many projects out there, and we are seeing a lot of submissions come our way. Being a new service, our business with production companies and distribution companies is kind of incremental to the already existing market, but it does mean that people look at Sky Showtime as an opportunity, which in turn then leads to a lot of submissions, and we really have to carefully kind of work through all these opportunities on our desks. But we do commit to development deals and then creatively shape projects together.
Fantastic. Music to my ears. So, speaking more broadly, what are the biggest challenges you're facing right now?
Yeah, I think a challenge is the competitive landscape. Many households already have subscribed to multiple streaming services. Free TV in Europe is robust. And really across our footprint, be it Radio Televisión Española or all of the kind of Scandinavian public broadcasters here in TVP, you have public broadcasters that are still committing to a lot of scripted content. So there's competition for talent. There are also many learnings that as a new platform you have to go through. We're building our organization. We are spread across the European footprint with our offices. Here in Eastern Europe, we're not just in Warsaw, but also in Budapest with many of our employees. So it's challenges, I don't know, a whole group of challenges, I suppose we're looking at, but it's a privilege to work through all of these challenges and shape this exciting streaming service. We just launched an ad-supported tier, including in our Eastern European footprint, where in many of the countries we're operating in, we're the very first streaming service that is actually launching an ad-supported tier, and I think that provides households with a lot more choice. Now we have to do a good job in communicating these options to households. So it's a pleasure, it's a privilege, but it is also a ton of work.
Yep. But fun work, right?
No, it's fantastic. No, I couldn't be more excited about it.
It's amazing.
That's the German being excited. Yeah. We're really expressing joy. Yeah.
And on that bombshell, please join me in thanking Kai Finker.
Oh, thank you.